Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I love as people are walking into the perfect moment for us to celebrate Shabbat together. And I think we're going to start on page 647, singing Hava
It might be, I'm just making sure, because in my mind, I feel like it might be 643, and that's my fault. And it's 643, Rabbi. It's my apologies.
Well, it's just, I like that. I like to have a little bit of
my first mistake of the new year. It's very exciting.
Really? I've already had 5 since then.
No, this is my first one. Hava, Hava, Nashira, Shir, Hallelujah, Shir, Hallelujah, Hava, Hava, Nashira, Shir, Hallelujah, Shir, Hallelujah, Hava, Hava, Nashira, Shir, Hallelujah, Shir, Hallelujah, Hava, Nashira, Shir, Hallelujah, Shir, Hallelujah. Sometimes before we really, really sort of greet each other and say hello and get ready for a lot of prayer, I like you to hear yourselves, to hear each other. So we get a little quiet and we expose you. You ready? I'm glad you like that one. Ready? Hava, Nashira, Shir, Hallelujah, Shir, Hallelujah. That sounds lovely. Hava, Shir, Hallelujah, Shir, Hallelujah. Hava, Hava, Nashira, Shir, Hallelujah, Shir, Hallelujah. Hava, Hava, Nashira, Shir, Hallelujah, Shir, Hallelujah. Hava, Hava, Nashira, Shir, Hallelujah, Shir, Hallelujah.
Well, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And it's fun to say this on a Shabbat, Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
And it's wonderful that we're back. It was so wonderful to have
Left, but that's okay.
having so many friends with us to be able to celebrate these holidays. And then I love this first Shabbat where we're back in this space and we're back joining us from our homes. And it feels like, feels new. I feel refreshed.
I feel rejuvenated.
And I also love that we know that we're in this time, just us in this intimate space. Well, if you can call this intimate. And then we're about to go into an even more intimate space when we come into Sukkot on this Sunday night and Monday. And that we know that wherever we are, we're here in community. That even as we leave this space, we take each other with us. And so I just wanted you to have an opportunity to wish each other a Shabbat Shalom, to meet the people around you and greet them with Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova. That's an invitation that's also a directive. Please introduce yourselves to the people around you. I just love that we come back into this space in this new year, that our tradition has this gift for us with the Torah portion called Ha'azinu, which says, come back into this space, into this time with a poem, with a little song, with a way of being able for us to feel like this is still sacred time and we'll make things a little different by giving us a verse, by giving us a way of being able to say, let's still make sure that when we have these Shabbatot together, these Shabbats together, we get to see that this time that we set aside is sacred. And it's wonderful because it's just us. And so on this Shabbat, as we are gathering together, how wonderful that we have so many B'nai Mitzvah that we get to celebrate with their families. And so we're going to invite the Moore family. So Jordan and Eli and Josh and Tracy, come on up to the bima, as well as I'll just keep calling out the rows. There's several of them. So Joe and Brad, if you would come up with Sawyer and Fisher, of course, we would love to have you back on your bima. And then we'll also invite Jack's family, so Ella, his sister, and his parents, Allison and Dan. You can all make your way over to the candles.
Be careful there.
So that we can celebrate this Shabbat with welcoming in this light. Page 120.
You like that? This is to put it out, yeah. We don't really need it.
We're just going to gather around.
Yeah, just come close, come close. Who wants to light someone? Of course you do. Joe, why don't you start? Okay, Tracy.
Thank you so much.
Be seated.
And now we'll have the B'nai Mitzvah come to this bima. We have a Kiddush cup for each one of you. So Jack and Sawyer, Eli and Jordan. We turn now to page 123. Please rise.
Amen.
L'chaim and Mazel Tov. Please be seated.
Mazel Tov. So we are on page 138 for Lachado D. And a fun fact about Lachado D that it talks about a little bit on the bottom of the page is that the author of Lachado D made the prayer into an acrostic that each verse starts with a letter of his name, starting with the first verse. So there's Shin, and then Lamed, and then Mem, and then Hey, because his name was Shlomo, and he wanted the prayer to have his name in it. And this always makes me laugh a little bit, that the guy who wrote this prayer put his name into the prayer. But I also think that it's trying to tell us that we can try to find ourselves a little bit in these prayers, that we can look at them and ask ourselves, what speaks to us? Where do we see ourselves in these prayers? Where do we not see ourselves in these prayers? What calls to us this week in each of these beautiful ancient poems that we're chanting together? So we are going to find ourselves in Lecha Dodi on page 138, and we'll be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor v'ribor echad ishmianu el hamichad Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shemu tiferet v'litila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha ki mekor habracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh v'machashava techila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela. Hitoreri ki va'orech u'miori shir daveri kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela.
Rise and face the entrance.
Shalom ateret b'alam gam b'simcha u'b'zola tov emunei ha'sehula b'ui chala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela.
Stay standing. We are on page 146. For the Baruch Hu, we call out all of the blessing that we see in our lives.
Lai 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 lai. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Lai 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 lai.
Page 152 for Shema.
Shema. 'Yisrael we continue 154. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hararim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shiftecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha b'derech uv'shochvecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam leot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot b'neinecha uv'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Emet, we are on page 159. Sing a song of all people, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, a song of peace. Page 162, and I have to say that I'm
doing this because of you.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Tell me more.
I hadn't heard it in so long. I love this prayer, and you did such a beautiful job doing Minyan the other day and singing for me.
Oh, thanks.
And you did Yismachu.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, I'm going to do it now.
I'm so glad. I had something I was so excited to say about Yismachu.
Keep saying it now.
Great. Which is just, I think that the message of this prayer is to find comfort and delight in Jewish time. Some of us, this is a moment of delight. We're heading into Sukkot. I got to spend this afternoon throwing schach onto the sukkah. Schach are the branches and leaves that go on top of a sukkah. And I found incredible delight in the the labor of throwing like many pounds of trees onto this structure. I hope you'll all come on Monday to our Sukkot celebration. So for some of us, this is a time of delight, and for some of us, this is a time of seeking comfort. And I hope that whether we're seeking delight or comfort, we can use this Jewish time, this time of rest, and this time of joy to find both of those things and to sing about it together.
ישמחו ומלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת ישמחו ומלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת מקדשי שלי שבת כולם ישמעו ויתענגו לצורך שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת ונד ימים אותו קראת שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
We rise and turn to page 166 for our Amidah.
Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע מוריד הטל מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We're finding delight and comfort in Jewish time, but the Jewish calendar is also asking a lot of us right now. Whether we are Jewish professionals or synagogue goers or having our bar bat mitzvah in the next week or so, we might be a little tired. So I hope that we all find moments for quiet and for listening to our internal voice. So we take this moment now for quiet and peace, and if you're standing when you're done, you can be seated.
יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן.
Take time now to pray for healing of body and healing of spirit. So if there's anyone you are thinking of right now who is having a hard time, is sick, is recovering emotionally or spiritually, mentally or physically, and you'd like to share their name out loud, please do so as my hand passes around the room. We wish them mishberach, full and speedy healing.
There isn't a page number, but these words, they will attach themselves to your heart very quickly. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy.
Shabbat Shalom. It's really so nice to be back on this bima in this spot I feel like I was in just yesterday. I guess it was 2 days ago. I wanted to tell you, the way that I met my wife, well, the first time we met, was back in 2003 when I was the RCVP of NFTYSTR. Out of curiosity, pure curiosity, how many of you understood everything? I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4. It's awesome. I knew the rabbis were, and I got Liz. And, yeah. So I was the religious and cultural vice president of NIFTY, which is the Reform Jewish Youth Group. NIFTY is the North American Federation of Temple Youth. And the STR, or STAR as we pronounce it, was the Southern Tropical Region, which was really just Florida. There's a lot to explain. But as that position, I spent that year leading this regional youth group in all of our religious and Judaic activities. Everything from Birkat Hamazon after meals to creating and leading services. Well, at the end of that year, I installed the next RCVP of NFTYSTR, who about 15, 16 years later, went on to be my wife. But in that position of RCVP of Nifty Star, leading all of those moments of Jewish experience, I was at my first convention. There were about 250 other Jewish teens in front of me. I get up to lead the candle blessing for Shabbat, and out comes, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu. If you're familiar, that is the Hanukkah blessing. Well, it's the same blessing. One ends in Shabbat, but this is the moment in front of all these people that I learned that for the last 18 years of my life, as my family gathered every Friday night to light Shabbat candles, my mother would lead the Shabbat blessing with the Hanukkah tune. I had no idea, not a clue, until it was the spotlight on me. Well, I guess that would explain that giggling that was happening at the convention as well. Now, whenever we do the Hanukkah tune, it always brings me back to Shabbat, which is probably not exactly the mental connection it should make, but it works perfectly for my family. Tunes and music are incredibly powerful. They not only transport us through time and space, we encounter all those memories along the way. They help us also to learn. Right? We know A, B, C, D, or Aleph, Bet, Vet. And I was also thinking about other songs we used to learn, especially from this Bima, and I think that goes for just about every song that our director of lifelong learning, Jay Rappaport, has ever written, was to teach something. And there's another song that we really encounter this week that helps to teach. And in this week's Torah portion, Ha'azinu, there is a poetic song that is attributed to Moses. We are in the very last, the second really last Torah portion of Deuteronomy. I hate kind of second last because the last one we're going to read at Simchat Torah. So it's the last Shabbat one that we read during the year. And it is Moses' last words to Bnei Yisrael, to the people of Israel. And he doesn't just give them a sermon, because that's boring, that you're going to forget about that in a minute. So he instead gives them a song, gives them a poem. He is about to leave all of Bnei Yisrael. They are about to head over the Jordan River into the land of Israel, and he is to be left outside of the land to die. These words in our Torah portion are really colloquially known as Shirat Moshe, or the Song of Moses. The song is lifted up and is important in Jewish tradition, but the musical aspect of it is wanting. Cantor Elizabeth Sachs explains, given the weight of the expectations established for the Song of Moses by both the Torah and subsequent Jewish texts, we might logically imagine that Ha'azinu contains a song that is musically lavish, unique, majestic, and supreme. Surprisingly then, the actual music of Song of Moses is very simple and repetitive. It uses trope marks like the rest of our Torah portion. You know trope more than you think you know trope, because you could open up the Torah right now and sing Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha as our B'nai Mitzvah coming up. They've been learning trope. But this Torah portion, of the 13 common, of the trope that is used, there's very few different trope marks used in this whole musical piece by Moses. And the whole part of it really only uses 3 different trope verses, and they're very repetitive. Moreover, these 3 phrases are musically the most unadorned phrases of the entire trope system. They're basic building blocks. They contain short musical expressions and barely deviate in pitch. It's kind of that home feeling structure, that thing we rely on. And these verses of Ha'azinu combine these musical phrases in repetitive patterns that become predictable throughout the song. These patterns continue throughout the 37 verses, and we know kind of how it's going to go. So I'm going to sing you a little bit of it, but taking the same trope marks and putting them on the English. So we have, give ear, O heavens, let me speak. Let the earth hear the words that I utter. May my discourse come down as the rain, my speech distill the dew, like showers on young growth, like droplets on the grass. Remember the days of old, consider years of ages past. Ask your parents who will inform you, your elders who will tell you. Thank you. Thank you, Cantor. It just keeps going on, a little bit of deviation, but you know what's going to happen. So you're paying a little bit more attention to the words. And yeah, I get it doesn't flow, these words don't flow off the tongue like Taylor Swift's Blank Space, but like T-Swizzle, yeah, I looked up a good nickname for Taylor Swift, the lyrics are fire. The text of the Song of Moses is so full of drama and artistic imagery. May my discourse come down as the rain, like an eagle who rouses its nestlings, gliding down to its young. The lyrics are evocative, the tune repetitive and memorable. This is classic recipe for an earworm. And this Cantor, who wrote so beautifully on it, Cantor Sachs, explains that when we look at the entirety of the Song of Moses, we discover that Moses uses the repetition as a purposeful tool to deepen and accentuate the profound moments. Just as he prepares to depart the Israelites' presence, Moses employs this haunting, recurrent chant to ensure that the Israelites will understand, that they'll feel connected, recognizing the contours, and remember his work. In this instance, simplicity itself is what breeds strength and power. And as we have stepped just out of the High Holy Days, we have those tunes ringing in our head. Hearing Mi Chamocha for the first time, not with High Holiday trope, that's what was weird. We've heard these earworms that have stuck in our head, singing Avinu Malkeinu over and over, that I went home and played the Barbra Streisand version off of Spotify, and it just brings you right back to this space. So as we step out of the Yamim Noraim, the High Holy Days, with its beautifully haunting music, may that music that stays in our ear, may it continue to stay there has a nice earworm for each and every one of us, reminding us of those commitments that we have made for the year 5783. And Shabbat Shalom. So as I talked about us leaving the High Holy Days, we haven't really left all of the Yamim Noraim, these awesome days. For in fact, in the next 2 weeks, we have Sukkot, and then Shmini Atzeret, and Simchat Torah. So I'll go over. So this coming Monday is the first day of Sukkot. We are going to have our festival service with Emmanuel congregation, and we switch off whether we're here or there. This Sukkot, we are over there at Emmanuel, over at 5959 North Sheridan. And we get to sit in that beautiful chapel that overlooks the lake. It's a really great opportunity. And then later that evening, on Monday evening at 5 p.m., here at Temple Sholem, and out in the beautiful sukkah that is covered in the most beautiful word in all of Hebrew, schach. The double ch is mwah. We'll go and experience that beautiful schach-covered sukkah, shake the lulav and etrog, and celebrate Sukkot together, sing some songs, have some really nice experiences. Then we're back in the swing of things. This coming Wednesday, our Wednesday morning study group is continuing at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, and I'm teaching as we explore Reform Judaism and Reform Jewish history. That evening, I'm also leading something, so I'm doing all of my own announcements. But we have a guest scholar with Tom Tresser, who he and I will be in conversation about Organizing 101. He's titled this, How Do the Powerless Get Power? Tom is a lifelong civic educator and public defender, and we're going to talk about what it means to organize. And that's going to help our whole community to continue to do incredible work of justice. Continuing that work of justice, we are having letter writing to get out the vote. The Reproductive Justice Task Force is working with Vote Forward to encourage fellow citizens to use their voice, and we have all the materials. We just need you and your hand to help write these postcards. Then Friday, we have some exciting things right here 1 week from today. We have our Sukkot Tot service. And that's at 5 p.m. That's mixed presence. So this place is like filled with a bunch of tots running around, and it is spectacular. And then we're going to join for Mishpacha, as our family group here, for dinner in Bettyport Hall. Before next Friday night is Shabbat Mishpacha, which is going to be led with our third graders. And so we're really excited. If you want to join us for dinner, everyone of all ages are invited to join. And you could register all that on the website. You could find out all this stuff on sholemchicago.org. But with those words of empowerment and excitement for the next week, we turn our prayer books to page 586 for Aleinu L'Shabeach, that it is on us. It is on us to keep the work going as we rise as one community.
Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol, L'Teit Gdula L'Yotzer Breshit, Shelo Asanu Kegoyei Haratzot, V'lo Samanu K'mishpachot HaAdama, Shelo Sam Chelkeinu Kahem, L'Gor Aleinu K'chol Hamonam, V'anachnu Korim, Mishtachavim Modim, Lifnei Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'nemar, V'haya Adonai, L'melech al kol haaretz, V'yom hahu, Yehieh Adonai echad ושמו echad.
We may be seated. To help lead into our Mourner's Kaddish, which if we turn ahead is on page 598, we have a poem called In Blackwater Woods by Mary Oliver. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light. They're giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds. And every pond, no matter what it is, what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this. The fires in the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go, let it go. On this Shabbat, our Temple Sholem family is thinking about those who have passed away in the last 30 days, this time known as Shloshim. Philip Abramowitz, Victor Krupman, Carlos Guillermo Rizawi, Ralph L. Arnheim Jr., and so sad, really so sad to announce the death of Norman Lasko, who passed away yesterday and whose funeral will be this Sunday, October 9th, and whose yard sites we observed on this week now ending: David Abrahams, Alan April, Joseph Mendel Bassler, Lois Berman, Fanny Bernstein, Esther Bild, Blanche Book-Chester, Melvin Borazek, Lydia Bolin, Alan Domash, Selma Freeland, Jack Gilmore, Pluma Graham, Isidore Grossfeld, Minnie Rabin Heller, Francis Kaplan, Charles Levac, Ralph Vernon Metters, Maurice Neiman, Belle R. Newman, Leah Rose Pollock Bluefarb, Max Provis, Francis Rabin, Gerald Rain, Edward Richmond, Charles G. Rizawi, Norman Joseph Schlossman, Carol Rosenfeld Schlossman, Michael Shapiro, Karen Sidebotham, Alex Sterling, Edward Sternick, Michael Supera, Edith Tesler, and Albert Tolman. If there are names to add to our list of memory, I invite you to share them aloud.
Thanks for that.
As we hold their memories, we recite Kaddish Yatom as we rise on page 598.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. V'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. Yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei d'krusha. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Da'amiran v'yalma v'yimru.
Amen.
Hey shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael.
Amen.
Useh shalom mimromav. V'yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael.
Imru. Amen.
Useh shalom mimromav. V'yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru. Imru.
be seated.
Page 643, or you may just know it by heart. Hava, Hava, Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah, Hava, Hava, Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah, Hava, Hava, Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah, Hava, Hava, Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. Eli, Jordan, Sawyer, Jack, you make me smile. You're gonna make me proud very soon, whether you like it or not. So, are you ready? One more time. Hava, Mazel Tov. Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah.
May those earworms, may those feelings of the Yanmim Noraim, those holy days of awe, stay with us for many, many months, all the way until we get to 5784. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, you guys.